Kia ora fam. It's been a little while since we've jumped on here and done a reading. We've had a little break. If you're unfamiliar with me, I'm Janina Asiedu. I'm a queer Ghanaian ancestral medium, herbal ritualist and artist based in Tamaki, Makaurau. And we just had a full moon. I wasn't sure if I should pull for star signs or not, but I think I'm just going to pull a general collective message and see what comes up. We're currently taking a break from personal tarot readings, but we still have a ritual going. We're still doing tarot for beads and everything like that. So yeah, if you want anything like that, if you want some art, we have a new print. So I have it here. No, it's over there. We have a new print that was inspired by a poem written by Justin Malindwa. It's called Echo of Hope for a free Congo. So if you'd like to support Justin, support Congo at this time, then this is a practical way that you can do that by purchasing our artwork and purchasing the poem, because 95% of the funds go to Justin Malindwa, who is currently displaced from his hometown Goma in Eastern DRC. Okay, Tono. I feel like using different cards. I might use our OG Tarot de Orisha. Frequency for just in peace. Collected at this time. Guidance and affirmations you have for us collected at this time. General guidance and affirmations you have for us collected. We have the air element. So Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. 5 of Pentacles at the base. Got Shango. So that's Justice of the World. I think that's, is that Libra? Got 7 of Air. So lots of air, whānau. 8 of air. Okay, let's read this first and see what's up. So some of us might be experiencing some sort of lack. This could be to do with an idea that we have. I also heard courage. So some of us might be feeling a lack of courage when it comes to speaking our truth. This also could be in like friendships, feeling lack. Because with this specific air element card, it talks about like siblinghood and connecting with those that are whānau. So maybe like where some of us have experienced lack before, whether it's in our mind, what we've been saying, our relationships, what we've been feeling. There's a new commitment or contract here. So something's shifted, and I heard globally, in the world, within the earth, there's a new contract that has taken place or is taking place now. So old cycles of lack are ending, or let me say have the opportunity to close out, depending on what exactly we are choosing to commit to at this time. So maybe if we are feeling lack, or even this can represent depression, this can represent, this is like a representative of being on top of the maunga, on top of the hill, on top of the mountain, sorry, and then falling. It's volcanic, right? So it's this poor goat is falling into the middle of the volcano. But in 4 of Earth, this is 5 of Earth, and remembering that tarot is a journey, in 4 of Earth, it was standing perched on top of the mountain. And in the oh, funny, we also have 5 of Pentacles at the base of the deck on this other deck that I was going to use before. But anyway, oh, I just heard like some of you all have been searching for something that you haven't been able to find. So maybe it's like advice or help, or yeah, just figuring out where something is missing, and it's quite physical. This could have been brought up with the full moon as well, with that full moon up the top there. Something about bats as well, with the bats in the sky. So maybe some of you all have been seeing bats. Also, I was seeing to be mindful of the voice of lack. At this current time, there are a lot of energies around, and more so than there were before. Some of you will understand what I'm saying, and some of you won't. But there are more energies, and when I say energies, I mean spiritual energies, which then equates to physical energies, right? However that manifests or makes itself known in the physical realm. But I'm seeing that we do need to be mindful of negative talk, negative thoughts, what we're listening to, and just where it's taking us. It's okay to inform ourselves or be aware, but I do see and also have experienced myself needing to detach from negativity. And when I say negativity, I don't mean the truth, I just mean, sometimes it's important for us to balance out and harmonize our own energies. What's the positive within the situation? How can we speak positively over something? And that might just mean like having hope or faith. Also, some of us need to speak protection over ourselves. I'm hearing, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. So you don't have to be Christian to say that over yourself. Or if you don't feel comfortable saying that over yourself, you could say something like, I activate my divine power and strength, and I am protected at all times. My mind is protected, my relationships are protected, or even like my commitments are in harmony, my exchanges are in harmony. Some of you will be opened up to a contract or commitment that is outside of where you are from. So it could be a job, it could be just a commitment. I'm also seeing at this current point in time, collectively, justice is served, whānau. It might not feel like it as well, because we have 7 of air and 8 of air, so there may still be things that we collectively are being called to move through, like how we potentially have committed in the past to, or out of abandonment, out of neglect, out of hurt, even self-deception, or restrictive mind thoughts, so restrictive ways of thinking. I heard being caught up, 4 of water at the base. So some of us are being called to move through emotional blocks so we can actually connect and commit to maybe our purpose, our destiny, or the change that is happening within the collective, because there has been a shift, especially because lack has been identified. And yeah, so this could be as small as someone saying like, oh, I feel like, say you're in a connection with someone and they're like, oh, I feel like this is lacking. What can you do to close that cycle of lack and commit to moving more in integrity and honesty rather than self-deception and self-sabotage? Now is the time to be clear. And I'm not really seeing it as like our logical or rational mind in terms of like our thinking brain. Obviously, we're always using that, but I'm seeing it as our higher self that we are being called to consult for the truth. So that might take time, I'm hearing, and that might take time to self. I also just heard self-neglect. So some of you could be neglecting yourself in some way, or a commitment, or through a commitment that you've made. This could be new, or this could be something that's closing out as well. So I'm seeing doors opening and closing metaphorically. I forgot where I was going with it, with that flow. We'll just keep pulling it. I did see Oshun in the deck, so, and we just had, not that I'm channeling the Orisha, I'm not, but I was just reminded of the Oshun Oshogo festival that just started and has been happening in Ilefe, which is, in Oshogo, sorry, which is amazing. If you haven't seen that, you can go and check Decision Sacred Art galleries. I'll put their Instagram social media name on here. They did some posts at the Oshun Festival. If you're someone that's interested in Oshun, I really encourage you to go and get to the root and connect with those that are actually in the motherland, obviously safely, for that information. Okay. And of course, I'm putting this information to it, guidance information to have us at this time. Yeah, so doors closing, doors opening, big contracts. I'm seeing this as like, it's quite, it's not inevitable, it's inescapable, if that makes sense, like, because this is such a big shift. So it's going to affect all of us. Yeah, there's no getting out of this one, I'm hearing. Two of Earth. So it's going to require us to be adaptable, fam. So we're going to have to come out of hiding. If you've been hiding and hermiting, like, if you need rest, obviously that's okay. But if you've been isolating, self-sabotaging, or a bit caught up in your wounds, or your like, be childhood wounds or abandonment wounds or rejection wounds, but it's more so in the head space. Some of you are caught up in that. I'm seeing it's really important for you to come out of the shadow and just let yourself be your authentic self. This card is old as fuck, but if you can see, this beautiful creature is coming out of the shadows of the cave, and it looks like kind of a walrus seal vibe. And the story behind it, as I always share because it's one of my favorite ones from these cards, is that it kind of feels like it doesn't belong because it's on land and it looks like it's supposed to be on sea, apparently, but it's exactly where it needs to be. So Source is reminding us collectively that even if we're feeling out of place, if we're feeling like we don't belong, even if we're feeling like we're struggling to be our authentic selves in certain environments, we are exactly where we are meant to be. And I really would like to affirm that to you, whoever's watching this right now, because I feel like it's a really important confirmation, affirmation, and the Magician at the base of the deck. So that's another affirmation that coming up, whānau, we have the resources that we need, and this is emotionally, physically, spiritually, and mentally. I'm brought to one of these cards that I have. I think it's an animal card, and it's the boar, I think, and it talks about, like, you'll face certain challenges before head on, so not to be afraid of the things that are going to come up, because maybe you've been through worse, or maybe you haven't, but allowing the strength that you have acquired from the past to motivate you to push through, and I guess with the Two of Earth, for us to be more adaptable and accept our authentic selves. Like, some of us are getting a bit too caught up in our head, maybe when it comes to who we are, or ideas, our voice, or maybe because a contract or commitment has ended and some of us are feeling isolated or sad or triggered. But there's something about that's not truth. That's kind of like just a trigger. Not just, but is a trigger. And Four of Air. Some of you may be struggling with sleep, rest. The Guardian Angel, Temperance at the base of the deck, Sagittarius. some of you'll need to, or some of us, let me say, need to look forward. Well, need to look forward to rest. It's funny because I was looking at the face of this being entity, looking at that card, and I was like, oh, they're looking at the rest, and then, excuse me, they're looking at rest, looking forward to rest. So some of us will be looking forward to rest, or should be. Maybe sleep hygiene is really important. Also, we're being called to be adaptable with endings. If there's something is ending in our life or it is not the same, I'm also saying, like, if something is changing, it doesn't mean it's the end. Yeah, it might be the end to a certain dynamic or a certain way something was happening, or maybe because some of us are being called to be more adaptable, it can be quite stressful. But I'm saying that stillness is important. So in the future, when we're in tense moments, when we're stressed, when we feel like we are not able to access this peace because there's a lot of things bombarding our mind, I'm seeing that stillness is important. Queen of Cups or Undines and Mermaids, water. Some of you'll need to do a water cleanse ASAP. If you need help with that, let me know. We also have the Yoruba water cleanse that is part of our Ancestral Waters resource, which is on our website. It's only $30 for the whole resource, and at the end you get at the very end of it, there's a water cleanse that is extremely powerful, extremely simple, and so easy to do on your own. But yeah, stillness is important. So prioritizing, fam, it's important for us to prioritize rest, whatever that looks like, or times where we can de-stress. I heard decompose. Is that the right word? Decompress is probably what I want to say. Decompose. What does that mean? That's like when something's breaking down, eh? So maybe that's significant. Yeah, I'm seeing like some of us digesting certain things or understanding certain things more over time. So yeah, being compassionate with yourself is really, really important, and compassionate with others. And that is going to require emotional maturity as well, especially in communication. Eight of Wands and boundaries, structure, Eight of Earth. Yeah, there's a lot of some of you are receiving like really healing communication. And if you are feeling lack, especially in a physical way or in any way really, I'm seeing that it's important for you to be patient with yourself in the process, as you're going through changes. And anyone else that around you that is going through big changes within commitments, you may potentially need to be patient with as well. And some of us may need to hold space. Hold space with discernment for ourselves and others. But remember, when we're being compassionate, it first and foremost needs to flow to ourselves, and then it will naturally flow out. So if you're not being compassionate to yourself, then you probably aren't being compassionate to the next person, you know. Seeing that there's a lot coming up from the surface collectively, so in community, in the world, on the earth, and also within us as well. So if there have been things that we have been suppressing over time, especially over the last week, to 8 weeks, so that's the last 2 months, it's going to come up if this resonates for you. And that might be what's coming up at this time, because some of us have pushed things down so much. It's actually making me think of like suppression or oppression. So maybe some of us have experienced oppression through people or situations, environments. I heard downplaying us or making us feel sad, isolated, lost. But the thing with Eight of Air is that, like, this I was going to say, this kid can fly out at any point. It just is not looking in the right direction. There's an open door right there for it to fly out, but it doesn't see it. I'm also seeing for some of you don't want to move out of isolation, so that's going to need to be you that checks yourself as to why you are letting yourself stay in the trap. Yeah, and that might be coming from past wounds and self-deceit, self-sabotage, and just thinking this is 8 of air goes on to 9 of air. So what would flow on next naturally in the air, in the mind, and the throat realm of things, and the voice realm of things is worry. So maybe some of you all, or some of us are anxious. That if we move out of this comfort zone, doesn't look very comfortable, is maybe some of us are scared that we're going to get triggered to another extent, or we're scared of the anxiety that it comes with actually having to really release the past hurt, past betrayals. I heard past belongings as well, because I was seeing 9 of swords, 10 of swords. If you tarot, you know what I mean. But yeah, I think at this time, Source wants us to note what is coming up within ourselves and what wants to be expressed and communicated, and to allow ourselves to communicate these restrictions and stuff, because it's actually going to set us free. Sometimes when we don't talk about something, we keep ourselves further oppressed or suppressed, right? And then we have no one else to blame but ourselves. Hard truth. And then with 4 of earth and 8 of earth, this is a reminder for us to reflect on our boundaries at this time, fam. Yeah, and we're at 22 minutes as well, which is 4. So twos, 4s, and 8s. Very stable, I guess harmonious, structured numbers. So what is our structure? What makes us feel safe at this time? What are our goals, our long-term goals? What's distracting us? Who's distracting us? If the lack that we had been feeling or whatever is coming from an outside source in terms of like an outside influence, how can we cut that out to be able to focus on the things that we know that we want to build, that we believe in? Oh, it's interesting too, because I just realizing 4 of earth actually came out, and I was talking about this card before, didn't even click, and we had 5 of earth with a little Capricorn goat falling down the hill. So some of us need to just like strip back, because 5 to 4, that's, yeah, I don't want to say it's a reversal, that's going back, but not in a negative way. But some of us might need to, which has actually been a massive theme for all of us, is going back to basics, slowing down, noting what our boundaries are, our habits. And I'm thinking of well-being, whole water, yeah, every aspect of our being, our wider, our spirit, our body, tinana, all the different parts that encompass who we are, not just one aspect, not just the physical, not just the spiritual, not just the mental, and not just the emotional. Source wants us to look at all the different aspects of ourselves, how we nurture those aspects of ourselves, how those 4 parts of ourselves, let me say, are communicating with you individually, and how that contributes to the structure and the grounding stability that Source is calling us to achieve. And then also with the 4 going to the 8, that's looking at our long-term plans. That's looking at, this is very physical, fam. This is like money, home, physical resources, yeah, very, very physical. Your craft, like what you do with your hands, you can see he's like actually crafting with clay. Um, and they're inside away from the outside world. So Source is saying some things are just a distraction, and at the end of the day, like, we are here to do what we are here to do, you know. So Source is reminding us to focus on what we need to focus our energy into, and remove ourselves from distractions, and remember what our boundaries are. Message from Earth, last card, taking it one step at a time. Fam is really important. And I think that's what's going to help us with expanding, especially collaborating. So teamwork is really crucial. And that's what's going to help us feel probably less at risk or feel less fearful. As well as our like daily habits with message from air. So that's just like taking it quite slow, and that's just like the basic stuff. Looking after your health, your body,